email address, again listed in the chat. So I'm going to introduce our presenters today. So now Zisan will move on to his next presentation. The title is The Illusion of Infallibility in AI, HND, Prompt Engineering, and Truth. Please continue, Zisan.
Okay. So I will be continuing. I was expecting this one to be in the beginning because the other one was more enjoyable in my opinion. So you might find this one a bit more boring. But yeah, so before I start making the presentation and explaining our paper, I just want to make one thing clear. This paper is more on the psychological part, and as ma'am introduced, I do not work in the area of psychology. We have some members in our team that know more about it. I just wanted to give a heads up so that in the Q&A part, I don't want to not answer your questions accordingly. So I will be starting here. The title of our paper is The Illusion of Infallibility in AI, HND, Prompt Engineering, and Truth. So what we mean in this study is we analyze the illusion of infallibility in large language models. In these AI apps, fluent and persuasive language is often mistaken for factual accuracy. We integrated the HND triangle, which I will be coming to later on, with an epistemic and ontological ignorance matrix to systematically define error patterns such as overprecision, overclaiming, and grandstanding. To mitigate these risks, we propose a dual-layered governance framework. The first one is the 6-step prompt calibration protocol for the operational alignment and the truth protocols for factual assurance. Ultimately, we provide a normative toolkit and monitoring indicators to establish a safety baseline and institutional transparency in AI-mediated communication in this study, which I will be diving deeper later on. Why this problem matters? This problem matters because fluency often creates trust when AI produces text that is coherent, polished, and confident. People may assume that it is also accurate, but fluency and truth are not the same thing. In public communication, educational materials, and institutional messaging, this distinction becomes especially important. The issue is not only that AI can make mistakes, it is that AI can make mistakes in a way that sounds highly credible. This is why we focus on not only on whether AI is wrong, but also on why it can sound right even when it is not. So we organize this, we organize this problem around 3 recurring patterns. The first is overprecision, when the model speaks with too much certainty about something that is actually uncertain. The second is overclaiming, when the model presents weakly grounded information as though it were well supported. The third is grandstanding, when the problem lies not only in the content, but also in the tone. In these cases, the model may produce language that sounds morally superior, rhetorically final, or beyond debate. Our argument is that these 3 patterns help us understand AI risk more clearly than a generic idea of error. This is also why the topic fits into the conference theme. The problem does not belong only to technology teams, or only to researchers, or only to community workers, or only to religious leaders. It is a shared systems problem. AI-generated text now enters spaces where multiple actors interact with it, rely on it, or are affected by it. So the response also has to be systemic. Our framework is designed to create a shared language across technology, research, community, communication, and culturally sensitive public messaging. The central thesis of this presentation is simple. Fluency is not truth, and confidence is not validity. Large language models are optimized to generate plausible mixed tokens, not to discover truth in any deep epistemic sense. As a result, a very polished answer may still lack verification, context, or reliability. Our work focuses on this gap between persuasive language and accountable knowledge, and rather than treating it only as a technical issue, we approach it as a conceptual and communicative problem that requires explicit protocols. Our first conceptual tool is the HND triangle. The HND is Hubris, narcissism, and Kruger. We use these not as a clinical diagnosis, but as behavioral and institutional tendencies. Hubris refers to excessive confidence and resistance to correction. Narcissism helps explain the need for visibility, affirmation, and performative authority. Dunning-Kruger captures the inability to recognize the limits of one's own competence. Together, these three tendencies help us understand why AI-mediated content can drift toward excessive certainty, exaggerated claims, and rhetorically inflated authority. Our second tool is the ignorance matrix, which distinguishes between epistemic ignorance and ontological ignorance. Epistemic ignorance concerns things that are knowable in principle but not yet known because of missing data, weak methods, or insufficient verification. Ontological ignorance refers to limits that are deeper and more structural cases, where uncertainty cannot simply be removed by gathering more information. This distinction matters because not all uncertainty should be treated the same way. Some problems require more sources and better verification. Others require more humility, more conditions, and more explicit acknowledgement of uncertainty. At this point, I would like to make a brief conceptual connection. The Ibn Sina risk matrix that we developed earlier helps us think about risk not only in terms of data and measurement, but also through the distinction between knowledge and ignorance. It contains two separate structures. The first is a knowledge matrix, where risk is assessed on the basis of available and verifiable, I couldn't pronounce it, knowledge. On this side, probability and impact can be classified to a certain extent. The second is the ignorance matrix. Here, the issue is no longer merely complete data. Uncertainty, intuition, estimation, and at times complete unknowability come into play. This distinction is important for today's presentation because some of the problems we encounter with LLMs arise from epistemic deficiencies, while others stem from a deeper field of ignorance. In other words, even when AI outputs use the same language, not every risk is the same kind. Some can be managed through verification, while others can only be managed by openly acknowledging uncertainty. Our third conceptual layer is simulacra risk. Here we distinguish between hallucination, pseudo-coherence, and hyperreality. Hallucination is the most familiar. It is fabricated facts, false references, invented details, but pseudo-coherence is more subtle. This happens when the text is internally smooth and convincing, even though it has not been adequately tested against external reality. Hyperreality goes one step further. The representation becomes stronger than the underlying truth testing process. In these cases, what persuades us is not evidence, but the power of the presentation itself. Our solution layer is the prompt calibration protocol, or PKP. It consists of 6 steps, which sound very much in the very beginning, but this is just an output of the normal thought that we suggest. First, every claim should be paired with a counterclaim or at least an alternative hypothesis. Second, factual claims should carry source requirements. Third, uncertainty should be openly expressed through probability language and confidence intervals. Fourth, assumptions and criteria should be declared in advance through pre-registration and deviation logs. Fifth, outputs should undergo a simulacrum check, which means they are reviewed not only for content, but also for tone, overconfidence, and cited coherence. Sixth, there must be a feedback loop so that mistakes are not only corrected, but used to recalibrate later outputs. The aim of PKP is not perfection, it is disciplined transparency. The second solution layer is what we call the truth protocols. These are based on 3 classical truth traditions: correspondence, coherence, and consensus. Correspondence asks whether a claim matches external facts and sources. Coherence asks whether the claim is internally consistent and whether it actually aligns with the sources it cites. Consensus asks whether the claim is supported by recognized standards, guidelines, or expert communities, and where disagreement still remains. These 3 protocols do not replace one another, they work together. Our point is that truth in AI-mediated communication should not be treated as a one-step check, but as a layered process. In order to prevent this framework from remaining purely theoretical, we defined 7 monitoring indicators, which we call K1 through K7. These include source coverage, uncertainty, disclosure, external verification, plurality of hypothesis, simulacrum markers, traceability, and calibration. We also refer to concepts such as the Beer score and coverage as ways of thinking about how well uncertainty is being expressed. I want to be very clear here about something. This study does not report an empirical dataset analysis. These indicators are proposed as in operational language for transparency and accountability. They are meant to support a repeatable governance structure, not to claim that everything has already been measured. So, why this matters for the theme of this Congress? I think the practical value of this framework lies in three main areas. First is the trust part. Information shared with communities should be not only accurate, but visibly careful and transparent. Second is collaboration. Religious leaders, community workers, researchers, and technology teams need a shared language for reviewing AI. For the wonderful presentations on a very timely and interesting, controversial topic. Glad to see, I think, everyone engage with what is with our, evolving technology. We'll go through the questions for the next little bit. And if you have further questions, please continue to put them in the chat. Remember that you can connect with all of our presenters and researchers through the WOVA app as well. So just moving to the first question in the chat, Zishan, does this reflect programming bias that has appeared for users when asking about things like Islam or Palestine due to the known conflict interests of the developers of these tools between, OpenAI and Gemini? To given summarized answer, yes. The main purpose, main aim of this study exactly was not this. However, we as a team who prepared this paper also prepared a paper previously. I believe it was about Islamophobia and AI tools. We did better tests with questions and different AI models. I believe if anybody is interested can find that on the internet or in academia.edu. That is an interesting study about this question much better. But yes, if I were to directly answer this question. Your microphone is off, mister. If that works for you, I can continue with the questions. I prepared some short notes for myself while... Okay. Yeah, if you feel comfortable with that, go ahead. Yeah, thank you. The question, how do you think Shaikh AI changes the landscape of religious authority in America? I will give a short answer once again. It will be it won't be as expected because similar to the previous question, the developers of these tools are clear, the side that they are on and their perspectives on Islam is very clear. And as an answer, I don't know the AI exactly, Sheikh AI, but just like AI models in general, they're not going to be much effective, unfortunately, because even if specific AI apps are created, the data sets are mostly from groups that are not very okay with the Islamic effect in AI. I believe that's kind of an answer. I cannot give a direct answer because I don't know the app, but yeah. Thank you, Ms. Zainab, about her word regarding the research being good. Thank you very much. About the question, do you think that there is a divergent trend in the acceptance of AI in the Muslim community between those who value authority and the Isnad tradition and those who prioritize applying the abstract contextual meaning? So what I can say about that is the current situation is it is not that bad as of today, but it will continue being the gap will be wider as time goes by because currently there are some how can I say this? The acceptance is going very well because Muslim users I don't this is not concrete information, but just my perspective. Muslim scholars and researchers and just people in general. I don't know the exact reason, but have a very very high acceptance of the AI apps. I don't know why exactly, but as I said, and it is very much used in religious studies, religious researches, and that kind of thing. What I can say is it is currently not that much of a difference between those who value authority and the Isnad tradition. But as I said, as time continues, it will be much more. And there was another question from Ms. Zainab. She asked about my thoughts on specialized AI faith-based tools such as Dean Buddy AI. Once again, I never had the chance to use this Dean Buddy AI app. I will be looking to it as soon as we close. But something that I need to say here, this is just like a comment in general, like even like famous Islamic scholars such as Ghazali and Ibn Rushd have some main differences in thought regarding issues about faith. So I don't know how a specific AI can just like help us in that perspective. As I said, I don't know the app. I don't know what you meant exactly. But I believe like the more the apps, the better, because the AI apps, as I have mentioned in my presentation, the user should be using them as a platform to receive different opinions. So the more the apps, the more the opinions, and the more possibility of the user finding the correct answer that they desire. So I believe there is a new question which I don't have a note as of now. I will just read it right now. I guess this question could be for anyone. Are there any suggestions any of you would have for when people are looking for mental health support through AI tools? What to be critical of with the information? So if the other presenter brother has any specific suggestions for this question, I will be very happy. But in my opinion, as I have explained, the tool itself is not that important. The way you use it, like as I said in the paper, the AI app are more important. So what I can be suggesting is uh, like all of us, everybody should focus a bit more while writing the prompts to an AI app. It does not really matter, so that the answer that we receive helps us better in our thoughts regarding the mental health part, because it is very like it's a very important area. Like mental health is in some occasions more important than physiological health. So yeah, that's the only thing I could be saying. Thank you once again for this question on my part. Thank you all.
Sean, I have a question myself, just looking
Yes.
through the presentations. It seems like so much of AI is a question of where you get your information from. So epistemology, and I know you talked a lot about the features of truth and, how do we get good information. So I'm just curious, it seems like, when you're saying the tool is not as important, it's how you prompt the tool and what we use, which to me sounds like more of a question of how do you, what's your thought process about gaining knowledge? So I guess, what's your observation of people today and the best way to help them understand how to use AI? Is it just to train them on the tool, or is it to train them on how to seek knowledge in general, which AI can be part of along with other things?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for the question. I will do my best to not be so like marketive over here. We as a team, some part of our team, we have a books series regarding prompt engineering training. So basically, what we found while we were studying for those books were the first and the most important thing is expecting, like knowing what to expect approximately, because like everybody uses different AI apps. There are some popular ones, there are not so popular ones, and to basically better understand the performance and like the answers that you get, you should be expecting some kind of the answer, and you should be basically. Let me just put it this way: be careful in the beginning, and then I personally compare the performance of the apps even when I am using it. Like for example, just like a not so meaningful example, but my brother had an exam that he was trying to use AI while doing so, and what I did over there when I was helping him was I opened three different AI apps and I forwarded the same questions to all three of them, and I personally had to decide which one of them is the best. So in like that is not a very important area, but in important areas such as religion, religious studies, like faith or mental health issues, the chance to basically compare and to receive the best one and to not take what is not okay with you is the best way that I could be suggesting over here.
Okay, Sarah, do you think you could put your question in the chat and we can ask it, or you can ask it now?
Yeah. Assalamu alaikum. I just quickly could, a very nice research, Zishan, alhamdulillah, all over. I think in our field, we are talking about this a lot because clients are using, especially younger clients. I had a client who, not to share much, but like is using even snippets of ideation and obsessions and all of that. And then it can really lead to misguidance and you don't know the privacy breach is obviously there, right? And then again, like you said, that religious questions or fiqh questions, we don't want to encourage our younger generations to go ask questions from AI, especially when these systems are designed by non-Muslims. Anyway, I think it's making us more analytical ourselves. And that's why the conversations, the deeper conversations that children can have, teens can have, even young people in their 30s and 20s, 40s can have amongst themselves as friends getting together and having hodgepodge of information from Western media. And then, having a slant on religious ideas, concepts in a way spitted out by chatbots and AIs that we have to, if clients bring to our their sessions or care, then we need to address, which means, again, we are analytically encouraging them to be informed of how they utilize that information, or at least be able to refer them to a real spiritual leader, a sheikh or sheikha, or the books of Al-Ghazali and other imams. My question to you is that are Muslim young people like yourselves obviously designing more proactively, like a parallel set of AI programs where real, true, knowledge-based Islamic education and fiqh-based questions intertwined with mental health are going to be made available, inshallah? Jazakallah khair.
Well, first of all, thank you. What I can say to this is, inshallah, because I personally am not developing like any kind of AI apps, but what I can see like upon research or from just like the social media and like AI development forums, what I can say is yes, people are really spending their time on this. The developers are trying to make much more useful and much more like better apps, basically. The only thing I can say over here is I kind of said this in a previous answer is like in the Islamic world, like even two people in the same house can have like major idea differences regarding religious issues. So I don't know if like they're like one day, like I don't really see it possible for an AI app one day to be said, okay, this is the best like AI app designed by Muslims, because like in our religion, as you all know, there are so much different thoughts, schools, and like one person is more comfortable with one school, the other person is not at all. So systematically, I don't know if it is possible for one AI app to be the best, but I know that people are working very hard on designing and creating much better AI apps that will hopefully give us all the chance to use against the AI apps that are developed by the Western media and Western like giant companies that do not really like the Muslims in the end.
Yeah, I'm also just, again, I'm thinking about the way we get knowledge, right? As humans living today, I think, who designs the tools, whether it's Western interest, non-Muslim, Muslim interest, if we're all interested in sort of gaining knowledge, not only about deen, but anything that's complicating our life in a very quick, short, efficient way that's built on programming and algorithms, I think that says something about our psyche that, no matter who designs the tools, it seems like humans, no matter where we're living, in America, Turkey, no matter where we are, Muslim, not Muslim, whatever faith, it seems like we really want short and quick answers. And so maybe some of those short and quick answers could be better if they're designed by people who may be more knowledgeable about mental health or Islam. But the deeper understanding about quick answers that are normed on an average algorithm may not be useful for very complex forms of engagement around mental health and religion, which is very intertwined and nuanced, and you need a living person there to work you through that.
Exactly, Mr. I completely agree with you because people, we need to understand that some questions do not have a one sentence answer. And when you expect that, you are always going to miss something or misunderstand something. So for some specific topics and titles, we have to know that we have to dive deep and we have to understand the whole thing. So I agree with you on that entirely. Thank you very much.
Well, I think we're at the end of questions. I know, Zishan, you've been presenting and speaking quite a bit. So thank you, everyone. Thank you to Mohammed or Usman. I think we may have lost him. But we encourage folks to please continue to send questions through the Wova app. And please connect with everyone. Please continue to network. But if there are not any further questions, I think we can sign off. Please feel free to, submit your CEUs and CMEs, and please keep us appraised of any questions you may have about that process. If no one else has any further questions, I think we can head to a break, and then we'll have some afternoon workshops, and we'll have a live streamed keynote address, inshallah.
Thank you all, Mr. Walid. Thank you, Ms. Zayam, if I'm pronouncing it right. Thank you all. As Mr. said, I will be very happy if I receive further questions later on through the app or through any other platforms. I am better at answering when I have the chance to think more on them. So thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you guys later in the workshop, inshallah.
Inshallah. Have a good day.